If you were 25 years old, you're hungry and take on a little bit more risk, and you want to start a portfolio with only, let's say, $10,000 to your name, how would you invest $10,000 today, 25?
It's a hard question, because I would be saying, if you're 25 and it's $10,000, you can fuck it up and it won't change your life. But if you get it right, it'll change your life. Now, so that says, okay, let's take some risk. The issue is where? You know, it's really hard to know, as we talked about, with all of the developments in, let's say, layer ones, what's really going to get the traction for the next phase here? I don't know. Is it going to be NFTs? Well, you really have to know what you're doing, and maybe you should spend the time. You know, you probably need to put your 1,000 hours in to start just figuring out, okay, what is my specialization? Where do I think I can understand the market better? And then take a bet accordingly. I don't see one clear opportunity. As I said, you could choose ETH, but maybe that's not as risky as you really want it to be, because you want to look for the 100Xs. That requires work, requires Discord channels, knowing who's in the community, following what people like, you know, Delphi Digital are up to, you know, the real thought leaders in the space. So it's not a straightforward answer, but the opportunity is there. And I think it's all about becoming a specialist in something and not trying to be a generalist. And don't just choose one protocol or, you know, one token itself. Choose a range or a particular area that you think you understand, learn everything about it, and then decide where to take that risk and where the good bets can lie. So maybe it's DeFi that you're interested in. Then you can look at, okay, what's something really new and upcoming that you think might be groundbreaking and it's got some amazing investors in it. Okay, maybe you take a position in that, but also in Aave.
A little more like practical, you know, $2,000 in layer ones, maybe 1,000 in the metaverse. Is there some sort of practical thing that you would do?
I'm actually struggling to answer that because I don't know the answer right now. Because what we're seeing is the network, so the digital asset ecosystem hasn't grown a lot in new users. So everyone's been thrashing around internally, you know, buying NFTs, buying DeFi, selling DeFi, buying layer one, selling layer ones, but you know, that's what they're doing. One bet that's obvious to me that's coming, in fact, there's two bets that I've starting to think about. One is a resurgence of DeFi, because, you know, institutions, hedge funds, everybody's looking at this space, and it's probably the fastest innovating space in all of crypto. So I think there lies a big opportunity. The other opportunity that's pretty overlooked is interoperability. So the way of moving assets cross chains. So that's a really interesting area for somebody to get to know, because if we're right about the metaverse, we said part of the key functionality is pick up a shit up here and move it over there, right? If that's Ethereum and that's Solana, we need to solve that. Same with digital identity that needs to move across everywhere and be applicable everywhere, not just in your ETH wallet. So I think those two things feel like they haven't pumped recently and probably deserve the market's attention at some point. I think that social tokens, and I've talked about this, I think even with you guys before, is social tokens are still not on people's radar screens. They don't really understand it. I think the Bored Ape Yacht Club ape token is going to be something that will show to people the power of social tokens and why they're different to NFTs. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that coming. I'm working on many projects on that, including looking at it for Real Vision. So social tokens, I think, are new and up and coming. People don't understand them. DeFi, interoperability.
Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily audience, Raoul.
Zoom out. Always zoom out. If we're looking at this as a 10 or 20 year trend of an emerging technology that's being adopted at record rates, zoom out of the noise of Twitter or Reddit or wherever you hang out and look at the long-term log chart and say, is this price action meaningful or not? It will give you a much better understanding of allocating your assets. You know, a sell-off like this, things start to look pretty cheap compared to their long-term trend. So maybe this is a more interesting opportunity, as opposed to be freaking out thinking, oh my God, what's happening? You know, if it goes down another 20% from here, does it really change the story? No. So zooming out is the most powerful tool you can have, and filtering out the noise. Writing down your own framework is really useful. Why am I investing in this space? What do I think is going to happen, knowing that none of us actually know? And then testing that all the time. Has that changed my hypothesis or not? That's really useful because it stops you doing stupid stuff. And we all do it. Emotion takes over and you forget the reason you did something in the first place. And you know, you buy a token, it collapses. You think, oh God, I just want to clear it out of my portfolio because it pains me every day to look at it. But when you put it on, you said, I want to hold this for 10 years. Well, then hold it for 10 years. And if you can't, then you sized it wrong. So you made it too big a part of your portfolio to hold for 10 years. It's just writing down some of those principles will help people out immensely.